El Patron is headed back from a successful overnight trip. 10 anglers with 15 bluefin tuna. One young man on board, 12-year-old Xander, caught his first 2 bluefin tuna, including a 60-pounder. And also 5 other anglers had their first bluefin tuna. 30-pound fluorocarbon, a 1/0 to 2/0 size circle hook, long soaking your bait. 1/3 of the fish they hooked was on the retrieve when you were winding your bait back. Great tips, great fishing. El Patron, 22nd Street Landing.
Look at them boiling the kelp, boys. Look at them. They're going off back there. Look at them go. Look at the bass boiling. Another scoop, Fred.
That's Captain Pat Whitaker at Catalina Island with calico bass boiling all around him, selling bait all weekend long. Go see him.
There's Coach David here this morning. He just came by and got his bait. Santa Monica, the boat show. Get Fred in there, of course. And he's off to Never Never Land. Good deal. Thanks, Coach. We'll see you soon. Good luck today. There we are. Good morning.
Hey, good morning and welcome to a beautiful Sunday morning here in Southern California, here in Surfside, California to be exact. It is absolutely gorgeous. And of course, we've got some entertainment behind. You guys get to watch and see if these gentlemen catch any fish in the surf. And they're also digging for more sandworms because that makes such a great bait here in Southern California. We've got a lot to cover with you. Bluefin tuna action. Is there any more white sea bass biting? How's the inshore calico bass and sand bass bite going? We've got all that. We'll go south of the border and we'll have so much more for you. You know what time it is, everybody. It is time for the morning briefing and a swig of this nectar from the gods, which I desperately need this morning. Oh my God. Last day of the OC Fair. Saw so many great people there last night. In fact, I was walking through one of the bars yesterday. I'm a bartender out there for the OC Fair. And this really lovely woman says to me, "Hey, albacore, any albacore?" And I'm like, and she goes, "My husband is crazy about you." So I got to meet Buzz. What a nice gentleman. Such a great guy. Buzz, good morning to you, my friend. Thank you so much for going out of your way to say hello last night. That means a lot to me, as well as so many others. I saw guys that recently returned from a 2-day trip on board the Thunderbird and had such a great trip, but always great to see you all. Thank you, Buzz. Thank you, everybody else. Really great to see you. If you don't mind, hit that like button. It means so much to our success, and we attribute that to each and every one of you who hit like buttons, who share these videos, who subscribe to the channel. Tick the bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and we have constant updates throughout the day for you there, so make sure you check that out. Pat Whitaker, as you can see on the lead in, on the bait boat Manana, is anchored off the casino down at the east end of Catalina Island this morning, and he's tossing all kinds of bait out there. Man, he threw a little bit of bait over yesterday. You saw it, and those calicos were exploding. There has been some phenomenal calico bass fishing at Cat this year. It's been really great, and there's a few yellows there and so much more. So Pat is there here Sunday morning with live bait for you in case you're tuning in right now and you want to pick that up. All right, let's get into the Ensenada area. Then we're also going to talk weather here because it looks like it's going to get breezy on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's our horizon trip. We'll talk about that. Also, south of the border, we continue to see good mixed bag fishing out of Ensenada in the inshore region where a lot of guys have been hanging out. Barracuda, bonito, bass, mostly calicos, but some sand bass, also occasional halibut. It's been really active, a lot of action in there, and a lot of great fun. Now, as you move offshore out of Ensenada, it's more hit and miss. You find the right kelp patty, and man, it's some of the best fishing you could ever imagine in your life. With Dorado and yellows on the kelps, but other guys spend all day long, and they don't find that right kelp patty. Trolling around with Mad Mac type lures, Halcon lures, also effective on the bluefin, but way more hit and miss. And our yellowfin have not shown up like I thought they would quite yet. I have been saying I think that's going to be a late summer fall thing, and it's going to get really, really crazy. So we still have some time for that. But Ensenada in general, if you don't catch offshore, there's plenty of action inshore for you all. Javier is a guy that's going to be on our Horizon trip, and he sent me a message and said, Phil, are you concerned about the weather Tuesday and Wednesday? Javier, it looks like it's going to get pretty breezy, but I don't think it's going to put an end to our trip or anything like that. It won't even keep us from fishing out on Tanner Bank, perhaps. You know, those are kinds of calls that you make at the last minute. You get a weather report from a boat that's out there. The weather forecast is downgraded. There's all kinds of things that can go on. So there's all kinds of other alternatives and options available to us, and I'm sure they'll be exercising that. You know, Javier, I got to tell you, on the Amigo a couple of years ago, we were seeing some really great fishing. And then when we came to our Friedman Adventures trip, my kids were on that one, and it was just nasty. 25 knots out on the banks. And I looked at my kids and I said, man, I don't know about this. How come the weather has to come up on our trip? Jeff Jessup, captain of the Amigo on that trip, walks over to me and says, hey, the Independence has 175 yellowtail on Cortez Bank. And I said, can we make that? And he said, we're sure as hell going to try. And we made it out there in that weather. We anchored up, and it was really big, great yellows biting for us. Put on one heck of a show. The next day, horrible weather. We anchored at San Clemente and Pyramid Cove, and then we went out, and it was just victory at sea. Limits of bluefin tuna. So we're not even going to have any kind of weather near that, I don't think. We'll see as we get a little bit closer. So weather is going to blow up, but I don't think it's going to be that bad, especially on a big boat like the Horizon. But time will tell on that one. All right, let's get you into San Diego, where there are scores that range from slow to really great fishing. In fact, the Polaris Supreme back into Seaforth with the Aztec this morning. Both had limits of bluefin tuna. You know, a lot of that 20 to 40 pound fish right now, it's been biting really well on a fly line bait. A 1-0 or 2-0 circle hook has been working really, really well. In addition to that, we have also seen some fish taken by on the heavier line, but most of it's been that 25 pound fluorocarbon, 30 pound fluorocarbon. And yesterday, Will on the El Patron, they had a nice trip, 10 guys with 15 bluefin tuna out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. He said long soaks. So in other words, leaving your bait out for quite a time and then getting bit on the retrieve, winding it back slowly. And he said 1/3 of their hooked bluefin tuna were hooked in exactly that way. That means, however, you are nose hooking your bait. If you belly hook it and you start winding it back, it doesn't look natural at all. So try that if you're not getting a bite any other way. Nose hook, long soak, slow retrieve back, and when you get bit, you can set them up and get your fish on board. Nice fish on the El Patron, nice fishing on the El Patron yesterday. We were happy to see that. The Old Glory yesterday ended up with limits on the flathead. So there are some kelps holding some good Dorado right now, and high hopes that we're going to see even more of that. It wouldn't surprise me to see a big influx of that stuff with this El Nino forcing more warm water into the LA Orange County area, northern Baja, San Diego. All those zones are loading up with that warm water, and that's only going to bring us more and more fish. The one-day range for San Diego-based boats has been very tough here recently. The San Diego yesterday on a one-day trip had 38 guys for 22 yellowtail, similar scores for the Sea Watch and several of those boats that leave in the morning and come back that very same evening. So it has been tough sledding for those guys. The Point Loma, Scott Buchert said, tough day. Scott's back from Alaska, decking on the Point Loma, said a real tough day. So hopefully that's going to really start to go here. We need that bite to rebound again because those boys worked their tails off on those trips. Hopefully we'll see that. On board the El Dorado, we had Paul Fanning. Paul's a great guy. In fact, he has a YouTube channel that you should really check out. California Saltwater Fishing. Anyway, he was on board the El Dorado, and he said, pretty slow out there on Tanner Bank for those guys. They had 22 yellow, 6 bluefin, a bonito, but one of those forkies, one of those yellows, a 40-pounder. There's some nice, big, fat, grade yellows out on Tanner and Cortez right now. Mostly on a fly line bait, some on the yo-yo iron. Great fishing out there for those bigger yellows, but kind of hit and miss. And again, the El Dorado with a little bit slower hit. The Thunderbird, and incidentally, somebody sent a Jeff Marklin look-alike to my booth last night and buying a beer from me, and I'm like, man, hey, are you Jeff Marklin? And they go, no, I'm not. Who's Jeff Marklin? I mean, Jeff, you got a double out there, I'm telling you right now. Anyway, guys that were on a 2-day trip said they had an absolutely great time. Love fishing the Thunderbird is what they were telling me. Love the effort the crew and captain put out on a regular basis. 26 bluefin tuna on their most recent trip. A couple of yellowfin, a couple of yellowtail, a barracuda, 53 calico bass. One of their bluefin, 140 pounds. They had some nighttime fish, they had some daytime fish, and there was a lot of bigger fish for sure. So don't stop bringing your heavy tackle. If you're going to fish at night, you're going to need at least 100-pound Spectra. I like 200-pound leader material. I think that works best of all. And 300 to 400 gram, and you're going to start leaning toward that 400 gram type lure at night when this wind kicks up. That is for sure. You're going to want to have a heavier jig. Metered line, colored line, so when it hits 100 feet, it changes color. 200 feet changes to another color. You know exactly where your lure is, and that is so very important when the captain says to drop to 300, that you are at 300 or a little bit below that. So that's where that comes in to play. Freedom, nice trip out of 22nd Street landing in San Pedro, California. They were up over 40 bluefin, 26 yellowtail. And hey, the Pursuit, 22nd Street. They leave in the morning, come back that very same evening. We call that a full day trip. Nice hit for them. They had 20 bluefin tuna, about 14 yellowtail, if I had that score right. They had double digits on the yellows also. Nice hit. Some bigger models in there also. They had fish up to 70 pounds. Bluefin up to 70 pounds. And man, pinch me, I'm dreaming. How can it get much better than that? Pursuit with a nice score offshore. We are loving that. Remember, there are several boats that are finding fish in 1 day range now. Right off our coast, there's fish around Catalina Island. There's some off Dana Point. There's more marlin shoving into the area in this warm water. The offshore season hasn't even hit its stride yet. It's going to hit it in the late summer and fall, and it's already really pretty good because the Pursuit showed the way. Yes, there was some nice fishing, no question about it. There's even bluefin up there in the Channel Islands. There's been bluefin caught off Morro Bay. There's albacore off Half Moon, California, Half Moon Bay. So it is really exciting, and the stretch of fish is absolutely magnificent right now. Islands, we talked Todos Santos down there in Ensenada. Coronado Islands, some really good yellow action there. Anywhere from 20 to 50 yellow, sometimes better than that. At the Coronado Islands, you need a passport to fish the islands right now, but there's been some really good hits there, and there's good barracuda and some bonito and some calico bass. Coronado Islands look really good. To me, San Clemente Island, really excellent calico bass fishing. Still a lot of yellows there. You can do quite well as a private boater. Sometimes the sport boats just attract so many sea lions that it becomes an A1 pain in the you-know-what. But there's still quite a bit there. And there's a little mix of bonito and barracuda also, and great rock fishing. If you find the right rock, drop on the right rock, you can really load up on some nice reds in that neck of the woods. Catalina, a little bit hit and miss, but some really good calico bass fishing, especially private boaters have been all over the calico bass bite at Catalina Island. As you can see, it's been really good. Pat Whitaker, once again, anchored off the casino. You get some bait there, or if you need to replenish your bait, you're fishing bluefin or something like that, he'll be there for a little bit longer. You can see the numbers there to call him. Make sure he's still got bait. Make sure he's still going to be there. But we see some decent bass fishers, especially for private boaters. Channel Island area, white sea bass and halibut still loom as a great possibility up there. The fallback is rockfish. The rockfish bite up there, absolutely spectacular. I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than that. But there's sea bass yellows. There's still live squid being made up there. That market squid, of course, is a magnet for those predators like sea bass and halibut. High hopes that we're going to see more. And there's still some bluefin tuna up there in that neck of the woods. We taken out of the coastal situation, and the bass bite, outstanding. Good friend of the Friedman Adventures family, Michael Raven, on a private boat. Limits of calico bass down there in the San Diego area. Nothing wrong with that. Half-day boats out of San Diego, three-quarter-day boats that decide to fish locally have been having great bass fishing. Drop that line down to 12 or 15 pound, and you'll get bit all day long. Sometimes it's not even necessary. The bite has been so good. Fishing 20-pound fluorocarbon. www.optionusa.com is a great way to get the job done. Good fishing out of Oceanside. Good fishing out of Dana War, sport fishing, LA, Orange County based landings from Newport up to Marina Del Rey, catching bass, rockfish, sculpin, all kinds of good stuff. Patriot with good bass, sculpin fishing. City of Long Beach, more of the same. Western Pride with good bass fishing. Enterprise, good bass fishing with some barracuda. Native Sun with a mix of sand bass and calico bass and barracuda, and even an 18-pound yellowtail got mixed up and got in on that local bite on board the Native Sun. So really great stuff. Rock fishing up in Santa Barbara, really great. The Coral Sea had 10 lings limits of rockfish. I don't know how you can beat that. And all the way up there in Morro Bay, California, Virgin Sport Fishing, they are fishing the bottom stuff, and man, are they all over it. Some really good bottom fishing going on, as you can see, on board the Black Pearl out of Virgin Sport Fishing in beautiful Morro Bay, California. I wonder if they're going to be catching albacore a little bit later this year. Would not surprise me one bit at all. The surf has been very active. I don't think too active here for our report this morning. I was hoping these guys would catch something, but so far nothing. I looked in their bucket, they had 4 fish, looked like yellowfin croaker, so they're still catching pretty good amounts of fish. High tide is off in the future, a few more hours, I believe, this morning. So once that starts to kick into gear, these guys might even catch more and more fish. Digging up the sandworms is a great way to get the job done. No question about it. Abel with a nice halibut the other day. My friend, good job, nice fish. Love to see that. There's been some really good halibut fishing. Lucky Craft type lures work really, really well on halibut, but a little chrome crocodile, like a 3/4 ounce, can work well not only on the halibut, but yellowfin croaker and other species will eat it. Also, some really good corbina fishing going on here. Also, we've seen some excellent corbina fishing. Light line, a sand crab, a Carolina rig with a 1/4 ounce slider, and man, you're fishing in this short water right here where it's a foot or two deep. A little bit further than that sometimes, but most of the time that fish is right there. In fact, you'll feel them bump into your legs when you wade out there and surf fish. All right, my friends, we got a lot to watch for you. It is the last day of the Orange County Fair. My sleep deprivation experiment, 3 to 4 hours sleep a night for a month, is coming to an end. I'm so sad. No, I'm not. I'm really excited about that. And of course, I'll see so many of you on Tuesday down there in San Diego on board the Horizon. Looking forward to seeing you, meeting you if I haven't met you before. And hopefully the weather's going to lay down a little bit more. Hopefully we'll get a shot at some extraordinary fishing. All right, my friends, have a wonderful day. As always, it's great spending time with you. Don't forget to hit the like button, share these videos with a friend, tick that bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. And of course, subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. We'll have even more for you as more surf fishermen approach. Hopefully they had a good day today. Should I ask them? Yeah, why not, right? Let's see. Oh, they're talking to these guys. Hey, pescados hoy? Mucho? No. 7? Pero qué clase? Roncador? Oh, can I see? Thank you. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, I got a few of them.
Hey, good job.
Yeah.
Yellowfin croaker.
There you go.
All right, good job.
Got the meal.
Thank you. Take care, guys. All right, some really nice guys down here hitting the surf. Always nice to meet fellow anglers. And again, I can't wait to get myself down to San Diego and join you guys on Tuesday night on board the Horizon. We're going to have some more trips. We have some more trips scheduled. I saved a few spots. I'll be announcing them this coming week. Take care. Have a great day. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon.